Hello buddy, and welcome back to another vlog. My name's Fireman, and today we're going to be looking at my latest purchase, which is I was told 1955 TEF diesel Fergie. So, not much is known. I'll give you a bit of brief history of how I came to own it. The bloke, it was on for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The guy wanted 1,000 for it, which is what I paid for it. They took it. Someone had started taking it to bits for a restoration project, because as you can see, it's not too horrific, and whatever, and had just got bored with it really. So I purchased it for 1,000. Had it delivered last Friday, so I've owned it a week and a day. Is about how long I've owned it. So over the bank holiday weekend, I put it all back together. Now it came with, I ordered a new head gasket, hoses, and a few other little bits and pieces, as you do, because he'd already told me what it didn't have. So I purchased the rest of the stuff that was needed. So when I came, the sump was off, the head was off, tank was off, obviously, radiator wasn't on, and loads of other little bits. So the head was skimmed. It was also had new valve seats in, new valves, new springs. You know, basically the head is like new in this. So what I did was I spent 3 days or 2.5 days of my of my bank holiday weekend putting this back together, and I put it back. I mean, I did the head. I did in an evening, got it completely put back together, valves lapped in, the lot, all back together again. I had new copper gasket. The only thing that nearly held it up was it was missing one cylinder head stud. So I've made one out of some hardened bar and some studs, and made my own for it. So it's running one of them. Now, I jumped the gun a bit and didn't check everything, obviously, because I cleaned it up, and the head and the head face and the block were clean and everything like that. And I didn't check everything, but this engine on this breathes, and after about an hour of running, it breathes heavy, like proper heavy, which is what all the black gunk is, what you can see there. So it actually does need a rebuild. I just jumped the gun and put it all back together again, but you know, it runs. I've driven it here. It is parts over there with the rest of them. But it's the plan is to order the rebuild kit sort of next payday, and then order the shells, order a new crank, basically make the thing like new. The injectors aren't horrific in it neither. It's had new copper washers all the way around. The only reason it breathes is what the rest. It actually wouldn't leak if it didn't breathe. But so that's kind of the way it is, and this is what it is now. It has turf tyres on the back, or grass tyres, or road tyres. They have quite a few different names, but these are what it came with, and these are kind of what it's going to stay on. I quite like it. It separates it from them three over there, being the way it is. Now it has got yellow underneath the grey, so I don't know whether it was an industrial model or whether it was painted yellow for what it did, but I don't exactly know what it did. Grass tyres, to me, presume golf course or somewhere in the horticulture, so maybe in a garden centre. I don't know. I wasn't really told the history of it. You know, I was just told this is what it is. It was going to get broken for parts, and I just couldn't let that happen. So I purchased it. It did have a loader on at some point, judging by the valve in the middle, but the valve doesn't even turn. It's been solid for God knows how many years. So the only real expense this thing has had is a new starter motor, because the old one was kaput. So put a new starter motor on. Everything else sort of came with it. There's a new wiring loom in the shed, and a fuel filter. A new one. I don't know why there's a new one. There's 2 new ones in it, but I'll probably fit it at some stage. There's 2 more gaskets. There's the little exhaust gasket for on here, and there's the thermostat gasket when it doesn't need one. I'm probably going to put a thermostat in it. I always like my tractors to have thermostats, and I know there's a massive debate of people that don't. You know, people say yes they should have them, people say no they should have them. The way I see it is, if they weren't supposed to have them, why did they put thermostat housings? Why didn't they just make it a solid piece of pipe to the top of the rad? So I always put them back in. I'll probably just put a gauge just either coming out the thermostat or on the dash somewhere. Or I might not put one in it at all. I might just test it and, you know, whatever. But that's beyond the point. So I'll show you a few more details of what, whatever. So there's a bit more yellow on the link arms there as well. These are a weird addition. I've never seen people do these. Someone's welded bigger plates to the footrests, presumably because it probably just digs into your leg, which is true. And yeah, so what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so it's obviously had a very hard life because the seat's been welded that many fucking times. It'll have, if I do restore it, it'll be new wings and new seat, because these are, you know, past it really. But the thing is, I want to know in the comment section, do I restore it or do I keep it as it is? Because it isn't actually that bad. You know, it'll be in the pole barn, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it isn't horrific. It starts, it runs, it stops, and it looks really good. It looks aged, shall we say. Now, it isn't on the button start, as people remember. Someone has welded a little nib onto it, so you can't push the button in, and if you go like that, there's nothing, it doesn't do anything. There's the decompression lever still on it though, because it's a diesel. Moving around to the back, I don't know how much time's left on my GoPro, but so on the back it's got a homemade drawbar that someone's made up, which is fucking solid. It is properly mounted in the plates, and then, well, it's all box section, so it's very crushable, but it's very strong. Also, someone decided to give the PTO quite a lot of hammer. I haven't taken this cover off, but I don't really want to look at the PTO underneath, to be honest with you. But, you know, someone has really given that some fucking stick. So, the downside of this tractor, one, the engine breathes, so it wants a rebuild kit in it really, top end and bottom. It also, one of its brakes is completely solid. The shaft that runs between the two, the independent brakes do not work. This is the only wheel that brakes. That wheel does nothing, but the brakes are tight. Someone's obviously tried to adjust them to give them a bit more, but that shaft does not spin into that drum. So coming back around here, this is the 4-cylinder diesel that they came fitted with, or some of them did. As you can see the new head gasket there. It's had the new rocker gasket. The other thing that doesn't help as well is the tap leaks. So I'm going to have to put a new court washer behind that and all the good stuff. But other than that, not a lot else. I cleaned all the sump out when it was off, and all that shit. So yeah, it isn't really that bad. So we shall get on and start. It's got the 35 battery on it at the moment because it didn't. I didn't have one. So sitting in the driving position, we've got heat, rear light, headlights. This is the start, but this is the Ode Kerry, the Ode push Kerry system that they had. So what used to be is there used to be a big plunger that you could turn and pull out, pump, and it used to pump it into the glow plug to help with starting. And this tractor cold is a fucking nightmare to start. So I think I'm going to put a rebuild kit in it, and I'm going to put some sort of way of being able to pump diesel in. So pushing that pumps a bit of diesel into the glow plug to make it better. So you can tell it's lived outside its life. The plate there is missing all its writing. There's also, that makes me think this is like a garden centre or a jump on and drive tractor, as some people call them, is there's stickers underneath everything to tell you what to do. So the amp handle fell off, so I need a new one of them. There's the oil pressure gauge. This tractor makes absolutely stupidly high. It makes about 50 psi oil pressure, probably because it breathes into the sump, and it probably is not helping it, but whatever. So this is the new start button here, this little one, because I thought I'll go for a little one in the corner of the dash. It's out of the way, you know, if you look at it, if you glanced over it at a show, you wouldn't see it. this is your stop down here. You've got your standard gears and all that, and yeah, and it also doesn't tick over very slow. Apparently there's a cork washer that you have to refit, but I was told it's in the steering here where it all attaches, but it isn't. I think it's here in the air intake system there. So I'm going to, when I pull that off, I'm going to pull that to bits and put the new one in. But hopefully, I did run it before this video because it is a right twat to start cold. So hopefully, here we go, it should just fire up. So as you can see, it does take a little bit. I mean, tick over, it's alright. So it kind of sits about there. I don't know how well you can hear me over it, but it sits about there. We'll go for a little trundle around the garden. And yeah, so it does want to rebuild. You can't see it now, but it'll start breathing in a minute. But all the PTO works, so the handle's right down there. You have got to let it grind a little. There we go. So PTO in, lift the link arms. They don't drop very quick. When they do hold weight, so I've had the little red topper that's on the back of the 35 on this, and it does pick it up like it's not there, so that all the back end's really good. But I wonder if someone's gone through the back end and the gearbox and sort of tidied it up and then just completely forgot about it and not done the engine or whatever. So as you can see with the oil pressure, it's lovely and high, which is good to see. It's about 40 or 50 psi roughly. So yeah, I mean, if you hold the throttle, this is what I mean about, people said about this cork washer, you hold the throttle and it'll stay there. You let it go and it just sort of creeps back open. So it isn't the best really. I am going to go dump this over there and leave it running whilst I chat about things. Just get. Okay everyone, we're back. Sorry about that. Sorry you have to listen to it running, but if I turn it off it'll just be a pile of shit to start again. So, pole barn is coming on beautifully. I don't know how well you can see, but I've got you on my head at the moment. So, the plan is, so we've got the steel work up across all the poles. This is to make it so that it's got some structure to it. The wood running across is going to hold all the roof on. It's what we're going to nail the tin sheets to. I am going to have to probably order some wood to go across the sides here because I want the sides all sheeted as well. Just the sides, the back can stay as it is because I don't really think it's going to get too much rain in there. Or I might sheet it up, I don't know. So that's the plan with that, and then we're going to dig the floor out a bit. So this bay is, the bay's at 8 foot and they are like, I think they're 10 foot high because the 6.6 is 9.5. What was I going to say? So yeah, they're 10 foot high. Which is what these two are, the two I'm stood next to here. These are the two the 6.6 will actually be able to fit in. The one on the end here is a little one, so it's a bit smaller than I wanted, but I made the mistake of cutting the wrong fucking telegraph pole up. I should have cut the one up over there and not this one, but I've done it now anyway. So I may add another piece on the side, or I may add another piece at that end, because I'd preferably like it if I could have a bay free. So the plan is to put everything that comes in will have nothing on the back, because it means that it'll actually fit in. The 6.6 is slightly too long to have anything on the back. So with the 6.6 all the way in, it'll fit snug pretty happily. And then we're going to have the 6.6 and then the Major in this one, or whatever. because I kind of need to have it so I can fit one of the small ones in front of the big ones, because say if I want to restore the 35 here, I kind of need this end bay to put it in to make it a skid unit to strip to do. So, you know, or if I want to rebuild that thing over there, I mean, to be fair, I can rebuild that with the engine in, it's not too hard, but so that's the plan anyway. So it's coming along. Hopefully another few weeks, if we get good dry weather, we should be able to do it. And we're also going to tidy up all the ends, so cut all the steel that's poking out and all the wood and stuff. So hopefully, yeah, not too long. Sorry the videos have been few and far between. It's been a month since the last uploaded. Things have been busy. I've been busy doing this, I've been busy working on these, I've been busy rebuilding that piece of shit. I've been busy, you know, doing my David Brown and my 35. I did all the tyres on my David Brown, so they're all good. You know, there's a lot of stuff I've done, but filming is just too hard because I'm trying to get on, and some of my techniques are very questionable of how you get stuff off, but I get it off as quick as possible. So yeah. But a little talk about the 35 whilst we're looking at it. So this has had new tyres all the way around. These are a second-hand set that I bought in the village just over from me, because some bloke was getting rid of them. He had them off another tractor, and the diamond side, original diamond sides, but the rims on these, front and back, was so much better than the ones this had previously that I just couldn't say no. And for 150 quid for a full set of tyres with diamond sides, and these things have got loads of life left, to be fair. Quite good chunks. If I restore it, it's going to have new wings, it will have new tyres. I hate people, not I hate people, I just hate the way some people restore things. So if you're going to restore something, don't bother, and they don't bother changing the tyres. Like my Dexter has been fully restored, but yet, you know, sorry, the pedals are annoying me, but yet someone has, the person that did it before me didn't change the tyres, so now the tyres have got massive slits in and everything, and they look shit, but the whole rims have been painted up beautifully. So I always change tyres. I know people say, oh, it's expensive. It is expensive, but if you're going to do it right, you know. That's not going to have changed tyres because the tyres on it are unique to it. So I don't want to take the grass tyres off because, you know, they are what came with it. If it, you know, I can buy, if these aren't unique, these are just standard tractor tyres. So yeah, but since last time I showed it off, tyres have changed, of course. The wings that aren't new. This, I bought a new complete oil filter, bath and top, and the piece of rubber in between. So it's fully breathable now. It doesn't actually sound like a pile of crap. New gauges all the way along. This is a new water temp gauge because the old one you used to be able to tap and it would just fuck off the thing. So yeah, this is probably the next one to go on. I'm going to rebuild that one because rebuilds don't take too long. Just so it works better. It runs now, but you know, starting it's a bit crap. They might just be like that, I can't remember. And then I'm going to restore this one because I'm restoring this one because it's kind of like a dedication thing to, you know, David. If you remember the story of when I first had this, I did say he took his own life at the beginning of, well, in between lockdowns, and his father sold this to me with that red topper and the link box over there. So I think it's only the decent thing to do is to make it shine like it used to. They had it, I got told the other day, they had this tractor 40 years, probably even longer. So it's been in their family for probably since new. I can't remember when it was built. Anyway, going on from that one to the Major. So the Major, the new battery, it had a rebuild not long ago, like I said. This has the roll bar over by the fuel tank, is the roll bar for this. It's yet to be fitted, and it will be fitted, but I want to paint it first. New battery. I've also, the biggest thing I've changed is the belt pulley's gone. I had a, if some of you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I had a Fordson Major that had like an industrial back end or whatever it had on it, and it had a belt pulley cover, which is what that is, and mine had a belt pulley, and I really hated the belt pulley, so I nicked the cover off it basically, or borrowed it permanently. And that roll bar over there is off the other one, so that's for going on there. Not a lot to say. I really haven't used it much because of its steering. It's the next one when I can be bothered to do it. It'll have all its steering done, but at the moment I still use it, so with having the front jaw on, it's too handy to take to pieces. 6610 went out chain harrowing about 2 weeks, maybe a week ago. I've repainted all the exhaust. Excuse the runs because they look fucking disgraceful, but that was with my first attempt of some other. I've got a spray paint of black hammerite and sprayed it on smooth, and it looks better. Also tidied up this little cover on the front. Hasn't really done a lot this gear. Trying to get our own built, so it's not sat in the rain all the time. When the shed is done, this one is definitely having some work done. It's probably the only one that hasn't had any work done to it since I've owned it, really. Which is going to be paint the wheels, paint the grill as well, tidy up around the cab.